create a new project, and here on the project, right click, new, select Python file, specify the name. Let's use data type. Here you don't have to specify .py because it's a Python file, it will automatically take the extension. Okay. And now let's create a variable to store a name. Because it's a string, it should be inside double quote. So a string can be in a double or single quote. Now let's print it. So name is a variable that stores this name, and then I'm going to print it. Right click, run this file, and you can see the output here. Now let's create one more variable, age, and I'll store age. Let's print age. Run it, and you can see the value. So this name is a string, and this age is an integer. In Python we have different types of data types, and it is dynamic data type. We don't have to specify the type. For example, in some other languages like Java, C, C++, we have to specify the type. If it is integer, we specify int age equals to some value. And in Java, for string, we specify string and double quotes the value. This type we have to specify so that compiler or interpreter already know what kind of value we are going to store. But in Python we don't have to do that, because Python works in different way. Python has a dynamic typing. It will runtime, it will figure out what kind of value it is, and according to that it will create a container. We don't have to specify the type here, but it doesn't mean Python doesn't have a type. Python have a type. So I'll comment this part, select it, and then control slash, and you can see this is a comment, this hash symbol. Comment means if I run this program, this part will be ignored. So let's run it, and you can see this part is not there. Now let's print here the type. So how to print the type here? Put the comma, and then you have a function type. Inside specify the variable name. Type, and then the variable name. Let's run it again. Now you can see this is a string and this is integer. Let's create another data type. I want to store height of a person. Let's say it's in feet, 5 feet 10 inches. Now let's print. I'll print with a message. Your height is. Put the comma, and then the variable name. Then again comma, type of value, comma, and then this function, height. Now let's run it. You can see 5.1. Type of value is float. So there are different types. This way we can print in double quotes. This whatever you write in double quote, that will be printed as it is, and then without double quote we'll print the value inside a variable. So you can see here this is a string, integer, float. Now one more thing you can see here, a class. In Python everything is an object. So this string is a class, and this is again integer, a class, a float, a class. So these are variables, basically are object or instance of this class, and if it is an instance, we can always access a method. For example, if I type here height, this is a variable of type class float. So this is an instance of float. Press dot operator and you can see here some functions. Same thing here. This is a string, name, dot. You can see these functions. We'll explore all these functions in coming lectures. So let's comment this part, and I'll create variables. So I can create multiple variables in one line. Like here you can see in other languages, if I have to achieve this one, two variables are there, a and b with some value. What we can do like this, but in Python it is not possible. So like this, how to create multiple variables in one line? What we have to do, remove this part, put the variable first, a comma b, then the values. So a will be assigned 34, b will be assigned 10.45. Let's create one more variable, c, and then a string. Now string can be in double quotes or single quotes. Let's add here Python programming, and then I'll print a equals to a, and I'll print type of this a, type of a. The same thing I'll do for b and c. Let's copy and paste b and c. Now let's run it. So a is 34 and class is int, b is 10.45, it's a float, c is Python programming, and class is string. So string can be in double quote or single quote. Now let's create one more variable here, d. True or false, that is a boolean value. So you can see here capital T. It can be a false, again capital F, and I'll print. Let's see the type of this variable. It will be a bool. So you can see here boolean or bool. So we can create a variable and assign the value. Internally Python will assign a type. So there are different types. We'll explore more about this in coming lectures. This way we can create a variable. We don't have to specify any type here. Runtime it will understand what kind of value we use. According to that it will change the type. One more interesting example here. You can see here. So a is, the type is integer because it contains 34. Now let's change a. I'll change and add assign a new value. Let's call it now. If I print this a, and let's print the type. It will change to string. You can see here it's a string. So previously it was integer, now it becomes string because the value is changed. So in Python, these variables are dynamic. It's a container that can hold any value. Whatever value you assign, it can hold that. It can store it. We don't have to specify the type. And to create multiple variables in one line, we can use comma, separated by comma, and then assign the values.